The Herd Line News.
By the way, according to Frank Isola, does he write for the Athletic too? Let me see this. Of the Athletic, Frank's everywhere. He's a smart dude. Some agents believe Durant and Kyrie Irving pairing for the Knicks is inevitable. I just want to go on a little bit of a rant here for 3 or 4 minutes. I lived next to New York for 10 years in Connecticut. I'm really glad I did. New York's amazing, but I went there often. The best part was my company usually paid for it. It's really expensive, but I love New Yorkers and I love the authenticity and I love the city. Now, I mostly went to Manhattan, which there are 5 boroughs, and there's Bronx and there's Brooklyn, there's Staten Island, there's everything, Harlem, there's everything. I mostly just went to the island. I went to Manhattan, right? And there's a lot of restaurants and a lot of energy, there's a lot of fry. So I didn't really experience the whole New York. I got all the, the glitz and the glamour of New York, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But I never wanted to move there. Ever. I had kids. I like space. I like a yard. I like a wiffle ball park next to my house. This idea that winning in New York is just better. Time out. So when Shaq and Kobe and Phil Jackson were crushing it in Los Angeles, they would all drive home at night saying, God, if we only lived in Queens and could play for the Knicks. I don't believe that. When the big 3 were down in Miami, Aqua Water, Winter League, I don't think they were thinking, gosh, if we could only have a cool pad in Brooklyn and me playing in the Garden. I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles for a second wanted to be in any city but Philadelphia when they won. And I don't think the Red Sox or the Patriots ever consider New York a better place to win. They don't. They don't. I like New York a lot. The people, its history, the architecture, the energy. There is nothing better than a couple of nights in New York in the fall, 70 degrees, sunset, with your girl. Feel like the most important person in the world. But New York is actually one of the fastest shrinking states. Weather, taxes, density, whatevs. And it's not more special. People in Charlottesville this morning don't feel like they got jobbed because they don't live in New York. New York's great for born and bred New Yorkers, for a night, for a weekend, for the energy. But this idea that winning in Silicon Valley in a new arena next year will somehow be less cool than winning some games but not a title in Madison Square Garden is just a bunch of hooey. Don't get me wrong. New York does feel big. And I understand the Knicks have the number 1 or 2 valuation in the league. But the Mets also have a top 6 or 7 valuation in baseball because, it's New York. And New York has 15 million people. In fact, I could be wrong on this, but I think the biggest city in the country is New York. Second biggest city is L.A. Third biggest, I think I'm right on this. I think it's like Brooklyn. I think one of the boroughs is even bigger than Chicago. But fact, the New York Knicks have won 1 playoff series this century. Fact, they have the lowest winning percentage to the Knicks this century. Okay, we just saw an aging NBA star in LeBron James join a dysfunctional but legendary brand. It remained dysfunctional despite the aging star. And I understand New Yorkers have pride. So do people in Odessa and so do people in Minneapolis. But I got to be honest with you. Winning in Miami is really cool, especially since there's no state tax and I get to keep more of my money and the water is aqua and I live right on it and I have a boat and the league's in the winter and it's 72 degrees every day. And I also don't buy into this belief. It's just sort of the way a lot of people think that difficult is better. You know what? It's just better to have to dig a ditch for 12 miles to get that paycheck. No, I'd rather walk a mile and get mine. I don't want to dig a ditch. Winning in New York is hard. The media is hard. There's a lot of it. It's intense. There's a lot of drama. James Dolan is not an elite owner. I'm sorry. The front office could be good, and David Fizdale is certainly an upgrade, but it's going to be harder in New York because you're not going to have Steve Kerr and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and that culture, which is smart and thoughtful and, frankly, protective. But Colin, he would go there by himself. No, he wouldn't. I'm reading all the stories. He would go with Kyrie Irving. This idea he would just go to New York. He'd put a backpack on like a college kid going to Amsterdam by himself. I'm just going to go see the countryside. That's not at all what I'm reading. People like Frank Isola, who know their stuff and are not fake news, are reporting that Kyrie and Kevin would go together. By the way, just adding pressure that you better win now because you have a second star, and winning in New York is great. But winning in Boston's great, and winning in LA is great, and winning in Dallas and Atlanta, in Minneapolis and Ann Arbor and Austin. It's all great. Losing sucks. Winning's great. Always. Always. Definitively. And I think winning in Silicon Valley beats being captivating, interesting, and not winning titles, which I don't think Kevin would, in a really cool city like New York. Coming up next, Antonio Brown drama. What in God's name is going on? And Aaron Torres stops by to wrap up last night's national championship game. All sorts of stuff. By the way, next hour, Michael Lewis, one of the most talented writers and reporters, The Big Short, a fascinating guy. He's got a new podcast on officiating in sports that I can't wait to talk to him. That's next hour. Warmer weather is finally just about here. Now, I know some of you are getting snow. I went to my weather app yesterday. We're not around the corner in all parts of the country, but in some of the southern parts, it's getting a little warmer. And you're going to do spring cleaning. Why not just clean out your mattress as well? You know you've had one for years. It's never been perfect. Go to get a Casper mattress, 4 layers of pressure-relieving foam. Soften under your shoulders, firmer under your hips, bedding frames, dog bed, breathable foams, everything you want in your house for everybody to sleep better. And free shipping, and they'll ship it out if you don't like it. At Casper, they give you the mattress for 100 nights risk-free. If you don't like it, they'll come and get it. How great is that? Casper.com, put in the code HERD. That code will get you $100 off select mattresses. Now, additional fees may apply in Alaska and Hawaii. Terms and conditions apply. Casper.com, the code is HERD. Again, free shipping and free returns on all mattress orders. So try it for 100 nights. Casper.com, code HERD, risk-free.